Hi everyone, and welcome to yet another set of words which would help you ace your GREs, GMAT, SADs, and a lot more. Our first word today is harbinger. Harbinger is a sign that something will happen soon. You can also say herald. Now, if someone is a bringer of news, right? How can you remember it's a bringer of some news, right? So, harbinger, a sign that something will happen soon. Who brings this news? A harbinger, right? For example, lightning is a harbinger of the thunder. That means when you see lightning, it means that thunder is gonna follow. So seeing lightning is a sign that thunder will happen soon, right? An ugly start is not necessarily a harbinger of worse things to come, right? An ugly start does not mean that something bad would happen after it, right? Maybe an ugly start would lead to something good, right? So an ugly start is not a harbinger of worse things to come. It is a triumph of dignity over racism and surely a harbinger of the future. That means our triumph of dignity over racism is going to give a sign that something good will happen in the future, right? So we are not promoting racism, we are promoting dignity, right? So harbinger, a sign, harbinger is any action, any event that marks that something else will happen soon. Okay. Harbinger can be said can be said to be synonymous to herald. Right? Okay. Our next word is heed. Now, heed means to pay attention to something, especially advice or a warning. If you pay attention to something, that means you're paying heed, right? Or you heed to something. If someone is giving you an advice or a warning and you listen to it and use it in your life, what did you do? You heed to the warning or the advice. They failed to heed the lessons of history. That means they failed to pay attention to the lessons that history has taught. The airline failed to heed warnings about security. The airline did not pay attention to the warnings about security and they continued with their flight. Right? Okay. Next is I had told him not to go, but he didn't heed. Didn't heed, he did not pay attention to my warning, right? To my advice. Now don't go there. It's not going to be useful for you. So it's my advice. Right? And he didn't pay heed. So to heed means to pay attention to something, especially to an advice given by someone or a warning given by someone is heed. Okay? Or heterodox. Our next word is heterodox. It means deviating from generally accepted beliefs or standards. People who are not following general beliefs, who are not accepting general standards, are said to be heterodox. Yeah. So if you are deviating, that means you are diverging from generally accepted beliefs or standards. You are a heterodox. You are not giving in to the rules and regulations or the beliefs or standards that the world is following. You are doing what is right, even if it is something different, right? So you are a heterodox. For example, his opinions, right? For example, his opinions, right? So His opinions have always been distinctly heterodox. That means whatever opinions he has given to anyone, they've always stood separate or they've always stood distinct. They have always deviated from the generally accepted beliefs or standards, right? There's lots of books with heterodox ideas published in China. So China has a lot of books which are deviating from the generally accepted beliefs in the world, right? He explained the genesis of his heterodox views. That means he was trying to explain the origin of why he is having these deviated beliefs and standards. So, heterodox views, deviated beliefs or standards that are deviated from generally accepted beliefs, right? Any person who is not going by the norms is a heterodox, right? He has some different set of beliefs or standards, right? Just like this person here, all these people are the ones who are having beliefs or standards according to general rules. But this red person here, he is a heterodox, right? He's deviated from generally accepted beliefs or standards, right? Okay. And next word, hidebound. Now, hidebound means unwilling or unable to change because of tradition or convention. If you are unwilling to change or if you're unable to change, maybe because of the tradition, maybe because of convention, right? So you are hidebound. Life is not hidebound by rules or convention, right? It's not like you can't change your life, right? So life is not hidebound. That means it's not like you can't change your life. Okay. You can always go against the rules, right? Change your life. Why should we be hidebound by an ancient custom of this sort? That means why should we not change because of an ancient custom? There are lots of customs, but it's not mandatory for us to follow them if they are, if they are not resulting in productivity. Okay. So we should not be hidebound, right? He was not hidebound by the past. He was not, he was not, he was not favoring the process of not changing due to his past. And neither was he scared of a new future for us. Okay, so you can say someone is unwilling or unable to change is a person, if a person is hidebound, they are not going to change. If they are not hidebound, then they promote change, right? They are willing to change. All right, okay. Let's see our next word, which is hortatory. Now, hortatory means trying to strongly encourage someone to do something. If you are, a strong supporter or you encourage your family, your friends to do something, right? What is that? That is hortatory. Now, he delivered his speeches in a formal hortatory style. That means his speech was something that was encouraging people to do something about their lives, maybe in a profession, right? So he delivered his speeches in a formal hortatory style. The music was hortatory, hypnotic, and thoroughly funky. So the music was able to encourage people. Therefore, we are calling the music hortatory. It's an adjective. Bill contains hortatory language but is precariously weak in the details. So Bill, a person, his language is such that he strongly encourages people when he speaks, but he's not very good with details. So hortatory, trying to strongly encourage someone to do something, right? That's hortatory. It's like this girl's speech seems like it encouraged a lot of people, and that's why they're applauding her, right? Okay. So that was hortatory. Let's see our next one. Humdrum. Humdrum means lacking variety, or you can say humdrum is equivalent or synonymous to dull, monotonous, and commonplace. Humdrum means something that's boring. It's not having a lot of variety. For example, if you are studying constantly, you're leading a humdrum life. We lead such a humdrum life. That means such a monotonous life. We have no fun, no excitement, only the same thing on repeat every single day. Sam said it was the most humdrum day that he had ever lived. That means his day was so dull, so boring, so monotonous. And this was the most boring day he has experienced till now. So it was a humdrum day. Going to dance school might improve your chances of getting out of that humdrum job. So if a job is monotonous, you might just try to go to some other place which will offer you rejuvenation, maybe a dance, right? So humdrum is any activity, anything, any event that lacks variety, or you can say is dull, monotonous, right? It's boring. So humdrum is boring. Okay. And next word is hyperbole. Now, hyperbole means an exaggerated statement or claim which is not meant to be taken literally, right? Smith's strength is in speaking plainly. He doesn't do hyperbole. You must have met people who exaggerate things a lot, right? I do that too sometimes. So, hyperbole is an exaggerated statement. Okay. For example, if I say, it was so cold that I started seeing polar bears all around, right? So it's not like I can see polar bears here because I don't live in the North Pole or the South Pole, right? But this is an exaggerated statement to show that it was that cold. Buster's claim that his dog could read was hyperbole, right? Now Buster claims that my dog can read, but that is too exaggerated, right? So it's a hyperbole. The film is being promoted with all the usual hyperbole, right? So the film is being promoted, and how do actors, actresses, they promote films by exaggerating them. This will be so cool. The story is like this, like that, right? But when you go to watch the movie, you're like, it was not that good, right? So hyperbole is an exaggerated statement or claim which you should not take literally. It's just exaggeration. Okay. A hypocrite. You must have heard this a lot. A hypocrite. One who states to hold beliefs he or she does not actually practice. Right? Sometimes you hear people say, you should do this, you should do that, right? But in reality, they are the ones who are not doing those things. They ask you to believe in something, but they themselves don't believe in it, right? So such people are called as hypocrites. There's one rule for her and another for others, and it's sheer hypocrisy. So this person, they want someone to follow a certain rule, but when it comes to them, they won't follow the same rule. So that is called hypocrisy. And a person who follows hypocrisy is a hypocrite. So a hypocrite is a person, right? Why can't politicians just be honest and stop all this hypocrisy, right? So politicians are the biggest hypocrites. They say something, but they do the opposite of it. They ask you to believe in something, but they themselves are not going to believe in the same, right? He's such a hypocrite. He never practices what he preaches. What he preaches, that means the thing that he, the beliefs that he imparts to others, the beliefs that he says are worth upholding, he really does not practice those beliefs himself, right? That's why he's such a hypocrite. Okay, so you can see this alligator, he appears to be a calm, cool, and I would not say calm, cool, actually innocent and kind sheep, but in real, he's an alligator. He's an alligator, right? So he's not a sheep. He's just holding the belief of being a sheep, but in actuality, he's not practicing it because he's an alligator. Okay. Our next word, iconoclastic. Now, iconoclastic means strongly opposing generally accepted beliefs and traditions. If you are someone who strongly opposes the generally accepted beliefs and traditions, then you are iconoclastic, right? So Wolff's theories were revolutionary and iconoclastic. That means his theories were opposing the generally accepted beliefs and traditions, right? What people generally believed in, Wolff's theories were opposite of what people believed. So his theories were iconoclastic. His iconoclastic tendencies can get him into trouble. Some people have a strong tendency of opposing everything that the other person believes in, and this might cause them problems sometimes. So you can say iconoclastic tendencies, right? Someone's nature to oppose generally accepted beliefs, right? The performance thus assumes a satirical and iconoclastic tenor, right? So someone's performance now changed into a strongly opposing one. Their performance was now more about opposing the generally accepted beliefs and traditions. Okay. So iconoclastic, something or someone who is strongly opposing generally accepted beliefs and traditions. Right? Someone who's breaking the rules and showing things which are, although opposite to generally believed things, but right. Illiberal. Illiberal means you are limiting freedom of expression. Liberal means freedom, right? Limiting freedom, illiberal. Limiting freedom of expression, or close-minded and intolerant. Someone who's close-minded, narrow-minded, does not really believe in giving freedom of speech, of expression to someone. They're intolerant towards other people's expression of their thoughts. Such people are called as illiberal. To see the world through illiberal eyes is scary, right? That means you can't see the world through eyes which are, which are attached to people who are close-minded or intolerant of someone's someone's expression of speech, or someone's expression of their thoughts. Hate his music, but the desire to punish is deeply illiberal, right? Desire to punish someone is, that means you are limiting the freedom of that person's expression. Autocrats and illiberal forces are trying to suppress human rights. Illiberal forces who are trying to limit freedom of expression, right? So illiberal forces. So illiberal means limiting the freedom of expression of thoughts, expression of speech. You can also say someone who's close-minded and intolerant of someone else's beliefs and thoughts is illiberal, right? Just like this leg trying to crush this person's expression, right? His identity. So this person owning this foot is illiberal, right? Okay. Now let's revise. Illiberal, limiting freedom of expression, or being close-minded and intolerant of someone else's expression of speech or thoughts, right? So if I say that, you can hate his music, but if you want to punish him for it, that means you are being illiberal. You are trying to limit his freedom of expression. He is expressing himself through his music, and if you are limiting his freedom of expression, then you are illiberal. Iconoclastic, someone who strongly opposes generally accepted beliefs and traditions. People who oppose the ongoing beliefs, the beliefs that are accepted by most of the people. If someone is going opposite to those beliefs, they are iconoclastic. For example, his theories were iconoclastic. That means his theories were opposite to what was casually and generally believed by people. Hypocrite, someone who states to hold beliefs he or she does not actually practice. Those people who say that you should always respect elders, you should always be a good citizen, stuff like that, but they themselves don't do it. So they are hypocrites, right? For example, there's one rule for her and another for others. It's sheer hypocrisy. Hypocrisy means You are being a hypocrite, right? A person who follows hypocrisy is a hypocrite, right? So this girl, she has some set of rules for herself, but then there are separate rules for other people in her life, right? So that kind of a person is a hypocrite. Okay. A hyperbole. Hyperbole is an exaggerated statement or claim which is not to be taken literally. Okay. If someone is exaggerating their speech, if someone is putting too much detail which does not seem true and you can't really believe it, then what are they doing? They are doing hyperbole. They are using exaggerated statements or claims, right? For example, the film is being promoted with all the usual hyperbole. That means, you know how films are being promoted. Films are promoted with exaggeration. Oh, this film has this film has that, the acting, the visuals, this and that. And when you actually go and watch the movie, you're like, it's not worth the exaggeration done, right? So, what happened when the film was promoted? Hyperbole. They took help from hyperbole, right? Okay. Then is humdrum. Humdrum means something that lacks variety, is dull, or monotonous. If your life is boring, dull, you're not having anything exciting, then you are leading a humdrum life, right? Or a humdrum day means a day which is not filled with anything exciting or anything unique. There's no variety in it. Okay. You can have a humdrum job, that means a monotonous job, a boring job, right? So humdrum, lacking variety, dull or monotonous, or a commonplace. Hortatory means you're trying to strongly encourage someone to do something, right? Your speech can be hortatory, right? That means your speech is encouraging others to do something in their life. Bill contains hortatory language. Or the music was hortatory. That means the music was encouraging. Or his speech had a hortatory style. His speech had an unencouraging element in it. Okay. So hortatory is someone strongly encouraging someone else to do something. Hidebound. Hidebound means you are unwilling or unable to change because of tradition or convention, right? If you're not able to change yourself or you don't want to change yourself, you are a hidebound. Okay. So life is not a hidebound. It means it's not like you cannot change life. You can change life. You should just be willing to do it, right? So hidebound, you are bound and you don't want to change. That is hidebound. Okay. Heterodox. Heterodox is a person who is deviating from generally accepted beliefs or standards. Just like this red person, all his other friends, they are following the generally accepted beliefs or standards. Like some people are like, no, you should only work a 9 to 5 job. There is no need to work more than that. But nowadays we see so many people working like what? 12 hours, 14 hours, 15 hours a day, right? These people are deviating from their from the general beliefs in society, right? So what are these people? These people are heterodox, right? So heterodox you can use as an adjective, right? Okay. Heterodox views also. If your views are different from others, then your views are heterodox. Heed. Heed means to pay attention to someone. If you heed to an advice, that means you paid attention to their advice. If you heed to a warning, that means you heed, let's say someone gave you a warning, right? So you did not heed the warning. That means you did not pay attention to the warning. So they failed to heed the lessons. So you don't say heed to, I was wrong there. You say heed the lesson or heed the warning or heed someone. I paid attention to someone, I heed someone. I heed the lesson, I paid attention to the lesson. I heed the advice, I paid attention to that advice. I heed to whatever you said, I heard what you said. I paid attention to what you said, right? So heed means to pay attention to something, especially an advice or a warning, right? So heed is basically paying attention. The substitute pay attention with heed. Harbinger. Harbinger means anything, a sign. Anything can be a sign for something that will happen in future or soon, right? You can also say harbinger means a herald, right? So a sign that something will happen soon is a harbinger. Anything that gives a sign that now this other thing would happen. So that sign would be called as a harbinger, right? A harbinger. You don't pronounce the R after A, right? It's a harbinger. So, for example, lightning is a harbinger of thunder. That means once you see lightning in the sky, it is a sign that thunder is going to follow it, right? So lightning is a harbinger of thunder. It is a sign that thunder will happen soon, right? Or sometimes people say if you started, incompetently in something, or if there was an ugly start in your life, so that would be a harbinger of bad things. It's not true. If you started bad, that's fine. You can always improve afterwards. So, ugly start is not a harbinger of worse things to come, right? So, harbinger means a sign that something will happen soon. You can also say harbinger is synonymous to herald, right? Okay. Thank you so much for joining this series. I would see you all soon. Take care.